Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of Andrewsfootball.com. Now bear with me. Here it is. The NFL draft kicked off Thursday, and it's my favorite time of the year. I love the NFL draft, and I get this nasty cold. My apologize for not getting something out sooner. But before I start this video, I gotta give a special shout out to my brother, not biological brother, but my boy Chad. It was his birthday, and I wasn't able to participate in the festivities. But Chad, you know I love you. You're my boy, and I'm sorry I missed out, but happy birthday. I know you had a great time. And by the way, you know, if you're a subscriber to Andrews Football, Chad was one of the first subscribers. He left my very first comments. There's always a special spot in Andrews Football for my boy Chad. So I apologize about missing your birthday, but I know you had a great time, and I'm 100% going to make it up to you. Second thing I want to kick off is that on my channel art, I had that it was 152% profit versus Vegas, and one of my subscribers, one of my coworkers also brought up that it was slightly misleading, and he's right. It wasn't really profit, it was actually return on investment, and I really should have been saying that instead of profit. And the last thing I want to do is be misleading, because one of the things about Andrews Football is that I'm trying to build a channel, but it's also emphasizing the picks that I'm making, but I'm actually going out to Vegas. The trip's already been booked. I'm actually going out to Vegas to kick off the NFL season, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. And that's a big reason why you should follow Andrews Football, is because unlike a lot of other channels that are out there just talking about the NFL, I'm going to show you how to make money off the NFL. And I'm actually going to do it because I'm putting my hard-earned money where my mouth is. And you know what? There's a lot of channels out there that'll say one thing, and then when they're wrong, they just gloss over it. Look, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I made a mistake, so my apologies, and kudos to Rob for pointing that out to me. Now, this video is about 10 observations that I noticed during the NFL draft. 10 observations I'm going to talk about here, but some special shout outs here. Luke G, Field Review, I'm going to put the link to his channel and subscription down below here. Now, this guy was preaching TJ Hawkinson going to Detroit at 8 for a really, really long time. And the over-under on TJ Hawkinson's draft pick was 9.5. So if you listen to the Luke G's YouTube channel, you could have made yourself some money. And he was spot on. So kudos to Luke G. Hey, they ended up not taking Cody Ford. They took your boy. So he was right. I was wrong on Detroit's pick, but that's why you should follow his channel. A lot of really good content there. Robert Doc Holliday made a comment that he called up for Pittsburgh, trading up for Devin Bush. He didn't get the spot exactly right, but dude, you called a trade up. Then you called a player. And the comments is on my Pittsburgh video. So Robert Doc Holliday, I'm glad you're following me. I'm following you. Great call. And then Brotnick, hopefully I get that name right, man. You called the Rams trading down. And you also called Taylor Rapp. Now you said 45. I think it was 52. But it doesn't matter. You called the trade down. Then you call the player the Rams get. The Rams had a great draft, by the way. And by the way, if you're kicking off the NFL season in Vegas with me, first round's on me, man. And Red Sea, you introduced me to that Amino app. I'm still working around that. I'm going to try to communicate with you through it. It is downloaded to my phone, but I'm a little technologically, it's something I haven't really figured out completely yet. But listen, you were dead wrong on Kyler Murray. Of course Cardinals are going to take him. But if you follow Red Sea, this is a great observation. He had Hakeem Butler first pick in the 4th round. He nailed that. I'm thinking, I saw that when he sent it to me. I'm like, man, you're crazy. This guy, I got him going in the 1st round before the Chiefs traded up for Frank Clark. You got him the first pick in the 4th round? No, he's long gone. Oh no, Red Sea, you're 100% correct. Great draft pick. So here, going forward now, are my top 10 observations of the NFL draft. Observation number 1, the whole Tyreek Hill situation is really sad. It's not really an NFL topic, but when I see a 3-year-old kid with 2 toxic parents, it's really sad. I actually think that both parents should see jail time, but That whole situation's something that's not a football perspective. It's something I really don't have the authority to say anything about. But is it safe to say Tyreek Hill's played his last game down as a Chiefs football player? Absolutely. And Miracle Hardman going round 2 is way too high. But it's directly related to the Tyreek Hill situation. And then the Chiefs even traded up, which I don't think they needed to, but I understand why they did it. The Chiefs had to do this, but keep in mind, you're not getting Tyreek Hill. You're not getting a Tyreek Hill player. You're getting Tyreek Hill light. You're not getting the same athlete. I mean, this kid could be a good punt returner, a good kick returner, a decent deep threat, but are you getting 14 receiving touchdowns this year out of this kid? Absolutely not. I understand why they did this, and I understand that they panicked and overdrafted, but, keep in mind this draft is all about Frank Clark. Now, if he plays like the defensive MVP, then this is a good draft. If this guy just plays like just the guy, then it's a bad draft. Now, Thornhill at 63, I thought was a much better pick. But here's my question. This is an athletic player who needs development. And if you're drafting a player who's an athlete and needs development, why didn't you draft DK Metcalf? If you're one who's, you're drafting a player who needs development, fine. But are you really going to tell me that Andy Reid can't find a way to develop a 230-pound wide receiver who runs a 4.33? Are you really going to tell me that you're going to spend time to develop a athletic corner safety, but you're not going to develop time to have a legitimate number one receiver when you just lost your number one or number two receiver, depending on how you look at it, but he was number one this year. See, Andy Reid's never wanted to play rookie, so I don't see Thornhill starting day one. I mean, don't get me wrong, if he ends up being a Pro Bowl type playmaker, then hey, it's a good pick, but DK Metcalf definitely could be a Pro Bowl type playmaker. And if DK Metcalf plays good for the Seahawks, Chiefs fans need to forever remember they drafted Thornhill over Metcalf. Now, if Thornhill ends up having a better career than DK Metcalf, give kudos to the Chiefs organization. But if DK Metcalf ends up being a player that almost everybody thought that he could be or can be, then this is a big mistake. So, I mean, here's what I'm looking at. Seattle got way too much draft compensation for Frank Clark. Way too much. It was no secret they wanted to move on from the guy. It was no secret they couldn't afford to pay him. And the Chiefs went ahead and gave way too much. Then they give him way too much money. Then they go ahead and the Chiefs have to use the draft capital they have left to overdraft for a player to replace Tyreek Hill. Then they have an opportunity to get excellent draft value in DK Metcalf, and they did get good value for Thornhill, who I thought could have gone mid-second round, maybe even late first round, which I saw some mocks. I thought he was a second-round player. But, why not look or take a chance on DK Metcalf when you're losing a receiver? That's the thing that really kind of baffles me. And that brings me to observation number 2. Why did DK Metcalf stock drop? I mean, I knew that if a team drafted him in the top 10, I thought it would be a mistake, but why is he still available at 64? I was really shocked that an NFL team didn't roll the dice on him somewhere between 33 and 40. I mean, the guy has NFL bloodlines. He's a physical freak of nature. I mean, why not take a chance on him being your number 2 wide receiver? I mean, I thought it was smart not taking him in the top 10, but the last pick of round 2, I mean, guys that are 230 that run a 4.33 do not grow on trees. I really think that this is something that could really work out in the Seahawks' favor, and that leads me to observation number 3. And observation number 3 is the Seahawks came into this draft with only 4 picks and ended up with 11. First, You get Frank Clark's replacement at the end of round one with L.J. Collier out of TCU. Then you go ahead and get Earl Thomas's replacement in round two, Marquise Blair. But then you still trade back into the end of round two and get DK Metcalf. That's phenomenal value at pick 64. And then you still, after making those three moves, you still find a way to get 8 more players. I mean, I did this video dissecting the difference, or actually dissecting the Chiefs-Seahawks trade for Frank Clark. And as a Chiefs fan, I know that the rookies we're drafting this year are going to have very little impact. But Pete Carroll's completely different. Pete Carroll loves playing rookies. So for him to walk into a draft with 4 picks and walk out with 11 players, that's huge, because look at the history of the Seattle Seahawks under Pete Carroll. You got Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. You got Richard Sherman in the 5th round. Starting tailback Chris Carson in the 7th round. As a matter of fact, if you look up and down the starters for the Seattle Seahawks, almost none of these guys are first rounders. So, and here's the thing. I thought the Seattle Seahawks in their reign of dominance was over. But I think now that they look totally revamped and they're ready to challenge the Rams for NFC West supremacy. And then if nothing else, if you're a Seahawks fan, you've got to be entertained by this draft. I mean, if nothing else, this is extremely entertaining. I mean, 11 picks out of 4, that's just crazy. My 4th observation is that the Green Bay Packers drafted Rashawn Gary in the 12th overall pick, and then they traded up to 21 for Darnell Savage. I didn't have Darnell Savage going in the 1st round, but the fact that they took a defensive back when in 2014 they took Clinton Dix. 2015 used their top 2 picks, a 1st rounder on Demarius Randall, 2nd round pick on Quentin Rollins. 2017 1st round pick, or actually traded down out of the 1st round, used the top pick in the 2nd round, the 33rd pick overall on Kevin King. Then Josh Jones. So your first 2 picks in 2017 were defensive backs. 2018, same thing, except Jaire, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Alexander is a corner, and then you 2nd round pick Josh Johnson. So your first 2 picks in 2017 and 2018, plus first 2 picks of 2015, plus your 1st round pick 2014 are defensive backs. So you keep drafting defensive backs, which is weird, and then you trade up for one who I don't think really would have gone in the 1st round anyway. But taking Rashawn Gary, who's a great value at 12, but you're putting him at outside linebacker, this is weird because, number one, nobody saw him as an outside linebacker. You could play him at defensive tackle, maybe defensive end. He played a 5 technique, a 3-4 end in college. But what's even stranger is that the Packers are going to move him to outside linebacker after spending $118 million on outside linebackers. And then you spent $36 million on Adrian Amos, who's going to play the same position at Savage as you traded up to get. So now, if this works, great, but this is a little strange. So if you're Mike Pettin, number one, you hopefully you signed off on this, and number two, you better find a way to get these all players to work together. I mean, you spent $118 million on outside linebackers, and you draft an outside linebacker, a guy who's never played linebacker before. It to me is extremely bizarre, but I'm not saying you got bad draft value. Is just something that I found to be very unusual anyway. So that's my 4th observation. Now, number 5 observation in the NFL draft is, how did the Cleveland Browns get Greedy Williams? I mean, Chiefs fans were celebrating getting rid of Dorsey, and we were all excited about getting rid of him. Now all of a sudden he joins to a winless Cleveland Browns team, and 2 years later they're favored to win the AFC North, and they should be favored. They're loaded. I mean, they get arguably the best wide receiver in football in his prime. I mean, how do you trade for a player like that? Then they get what most experts are calling the best corner in the draft, and they don't even trade up for him. So you get Odell Beckham Jr., then you get Greedy Williams, and then you get Mack Wilson in the 5th round, and this guy's probably going to start for you. Are you kidding me? I mean, I've seen situations like this before. Last time I seen something like this was with Dallas in the late 80s, and this is how they became the dynasty of the 90s. I mean, this is exactly how you build dynasties. You get the best corner in the draft in the 2nd round. And the best part is he's not even your number 1 corner. He gets to play next to Denzel Ward, and you get the number 2 guy. I mean, this is a perfect situation. If you're Greedy Williams, you're landing in the perfect spot because expectations aren't on you to be the number 1 guy. Plus, you're going to go to a team that's going to win. And by the time your second contract comes up, you're going to be able to ask for a lot of money. So, yeah, you lost a little bit of money early on, but you're going to make it back up. And then how do you get a starting linebacker in the 5th round? I mean, this is exactly how you build a dynasty, by getting good trades and then making great drafts. And, you know, the downside is that if the Cleveland Browns do not go to the playoffs this year, the season is a failure. Now, I want you to think about this. 2 years ago, they didn't win a single game. Now, playoffs are bust in 2 years for Cleveland? I mean, did we just enter the twilight zone or what? So, I mean, you know, it's funny because Chiefs fans are all excited about getting rid of Dorsey. Now he's the NFL Executive of the Year, and it's got to be it has to be a unanimous decision. Is there anybody who's even close? There's not. So that to me is just something that blew me away. Observation number 6. A team that I really liked was Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, first of all, they get Josh Allen at 7. You get Josh Allen anywhere in the top 5, and that's excellent draft value, but you get him at 7. So, I mean, right away, I mean, that's excellent draft value, and he goes to a really great spot. Now, I would have preferred him going to a defense that runs, you know, a 3-4 and have him play a little more outside linebacker than defensive end. But you go to a team like Jacksonville, you don't need to be a day 1 starter. You know, Jacksonville's not asking him to come in and be a double-digit sack guy right away. He's just going to, you know, play situationally, and they can get very creative with him, but they don't need to rush him. So, I mean, this is a guy who I think will play situational downs year 1, and in year 2 become a full-time starter, probably replacing Calais Campbell eventually. But then in round 2, you get Juwan Taylor. You trade up for Juwan Taylor, and this is a guy that I saw many mock drafts where he went at number 7. So, I mean, he definitely was. I had him ranked top 15. I mean, you know, this is a guy who had no business sliding into the 2nd round. And it's very ironic because they drafted Cam Robinson, their starting left tackle, with the 34th pick in 2 years ago. So, I mean, it's kind of ironic. You get bookend tackles both at pick number 34. So you're set at the tackle position for maybe the next 10 years. Now, keep in mind, I'm counting on Cam Robinson coming back and being 100% that he was his rookie year. He didn't go to a Pro Bowl, but he played at near a Pro Bowl level. So you got a couple studs at tackle. So I love the first 2 picks. Now, the 3rd round pick, they overdrafted on both of these players, but I don't mind at all. Number 1, you get an athletic tight end in Josh Oliver. Now, keep in mind, their starting tight end, James O'Shaughnessy, I remember was the 4th-string tight end for the Chiefs. I mean, this is a guy, no disrespect to Mr. O'Shaughnessy here, but, I mean, this is a guy who doesn't have any business being a starting NFL tight end. So you bring in a guy who's athletic. He can help, you know, Nick Foles down the line. He's not going to be a day 1 starter, but is this guy who could develop, and that will also help you out immediately, absolutely. Then you get their other 3rd round pick. Now this will be he's basically a big safety. He's a linebacker size safety. He's going to play on special teams, and he's not going to probably be a starter, but he's going to contribute some. And here's what I like, is that you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're going an old school approach. While a lot of teams are emphasizing speed you're just getting bigger and you're just bullying everybody. You're saying size over speed, and we're just going to hurt you. And as somebody who likes old school football, that's very appealing to me. Not only that, they in the 6th round they drafted Gardner Minshew, quarterback out of Washington State. Now this guy threw for 8 quadrillion yards in college, and this is a guy who's probably not your stereotypical NFL quarterback, but you get a guy in round 6 who has a lot of ability. Remember Tom Brady was drafted in round 6. Nobody thought he was going to be an NFL quarterback. So I really like this pick. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, their first 2 picks got excellent draft value. Then they got a couple players that they overdrafted for, but it's perfect fits for what they needed to do. Plus, you roll the dice in the late round for a guy who has a lot of throwing ability. And even though you spent $88 million on Foles, if you're banking on him to be, a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback with no backup plan, that's just ridiculous. So in the 6th round, you get a guy who has some passing ability. Let's say things don't work out with Foles. Get a guy who you know for a fact he can make some passes. I mean, he did throw for 8 quadrillion yards in college. So I really like what Jacksonville Jaguars did with the NFL draft. Number 7 main observation in the 2019 NFL draft was Houston went small school to protect Deshaun Watson. I did not like the Titus Howard pick, and I'm going to go on record saying that you had Greg Little available, and I really think that you should have chose him instead. I thought it was a bad move. You got 2 big, powerful, small school offensive line when you're playing against fast, athletic, divisional opponents. I mean, you put Josh Allen, Jacksonville's rookie defensive end, against either one of these guys, and that's a win for Jacksonville. You got the Indianapolis Colts, who just spent a lot of money on Justin Houston. Now, Tennessee, of course, spent their first-round pick on Justin Simmons. He's not going to play this year. But when I'm looking at a team that is trying to protect their quarterback, who took 62 sacks last year, they drafted 2 small school maulers. Now, am I saying you can only have a good NFL team with big school players? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, you got Jerry Rice, who went to Mississippi Valley State, Walter Payton, who went to Jackson State. I mean, Steve McNair went to Alcorn State. Chiefs Pro Bowl left tackle graduated from Central Michigan. So you don't have to go to a big school to be a good player. I'm not saying that at all, but drafting small school guys that are going to take some time to adapt to NFL speed, longer than it would take for a player chosen out of the SEC, for example, that confused me. Plus, I'm a little confused on why Houston's trying to become more physical. And so instead of going with athletic tackles who are better in pass protect, they're going with physicality and becoming a power running team when Lamar Miller's your number 1 Pro Bowl running back is a little confusing. Now, if you're planning on the 245, 250-pound Dante Foreman being your number 1 running back instead, I can see that. But if Lamar Miller is your number 1 guy, I think I saw a listing where he's 220, but I mean, this is a guy who's not known for power. He's more known for speed and elusiveness. So I didn't really like this at all, because I think your number 1 concern should be pass protection, not run blocking, especially when your superstar quarterback got sacked 62 times. Now, to me, this shows that you're trying to change the offensive philosophy of the team, and changing the offensive philosophy with small school guys is extremely risky, and I also think it was kind of unnecessary to do this. But if it works, awesome. But in order for this to work, you got to win the division again, and you have to win a minimum of 1 playoff game, and putting that on overdrafting small school players, I think, was a big mistake and really unnecessary. So even though I am not rooting against these kids, This was a draft observation I have. I think Houston made a big mistake in these 2 draft picks. My 8th main observation of the 2019 NFL Draft was the Washington Redskins. Now, Friday, someone came up to me and said, "Hey, who would you give an A to in the NFL Draft so far?" This is just after day one. First thing that popped out of my mind was the Washington Redskins. I mean, they got a quarterback at 15 in Dwayne Haskins, who I had going number 6 to his hometown team, the Giants. I mean, you got a local kid that the Giants went ahead and passed on, and then he goes and drops all the way to 15 to your rival, the Washington Redskins. And the thing is, if you're Dwayne Haskins, you gotta love this, because going to Washington gives you a much better chance to start sooner. Backing up Case Keenum, who no disrespect to Case Keenum here, but you're a journeyman guy. In New York, you would be backing up 2-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning, and basically you got to wait till the Giants want to get rid of him. There's a chance he could start this year, but you're definitely going to be the starter in 2020. So I think Haskins got himself into a better situation to start sooner, sliding all the way to 15. Then the Redskins trade up and roll the dice on Montez Sweat. And I say roll the dice because I'm under the impression that if there was no medical concerns, he may have gone top 10, definitely top 15, or actually I had him mocked 16 to Carolina, but he's available at 26. Athletically, he's a top 10 player all day, but because of the medical concerns, I'm assuming because of the medical concerns, there was some concerns about some things about his game, but I don't think that would take him all the way down to 26. But either way, you lose a pass rusher, one of your 3-4 outside linebackers to free agency. You get a guy that has no business being available at 26, going at number 26. So here's the thing, and then I love those first 2 picks, but then you draft Bryce Love in the 4th round. Now, this is, I think, a perfect move for the Redskins, and the reason why is let's say Derek Geis isn't ready to go, and there's talk about him not really progressing as well as he needed to be. You signed Adrian Peterson, and you still got Love available. So, I mean, I really love this situation. Worst case scenario, he's your 3rd string running back. But if healthy, he's got all the tools to be a number 1 guy in the NFL. So I absolutely love this pick. I mean, and then I kind of want to touch base on this again a little more. Let's say Keenum plays lights out, like he did for Minnesota. You can even trade this guy, and you get a high draft pick. Let's say he doesn't play well. So what? You throw in Haskins, and you give him opportunity to learn on the job. Now, keep in mind, when Jay Gruden was in Cincinnati, they threw Andy Dalton in right away, and he actually played pretty decent as a rookie, and it depends on how much you like Andy Dalton or not. But this is the way I look at the draft. If you're committed to Jay Gruden, and Jay Gruden is committed to Dwayne Haskins, and this means that he's going to be the starter in 2020. This draft is a home run. Now, if you're the GM and you're just looking at value and you're not looking for fit, and Gruden's not sold on Haskins, and this could be a complete disaster. But if Gruden is sold on Haskins, the organization's sold on Gruden, because if you're going to start a rookie quarterback or plan to play a rookie quarterback at all this year, you have to be prepared not to be a playoff caliber team. To me, the only way Jay Gruden is really guaranteed to keep his job is for him to make the playoffs. I think 7-9, 8-8, he's definitely on the hot seat, depending on who's available and who's not available. So when you draft a quarterback in the 1st round, are you looking to replace the head coach? That's huge, because I've seen Washington make some crazy decisions like this before. Because if they're drafting Haskins and they're not really sold on Gruden's future, then the next head coach that they bring in needs to be on board with Haskins being their starter. He can't choose his own guy, and that could create some problems. So if the GM and Gruden and Haskins are all on the same page, this is a home run of a draft. If this is the case where GM's going through his draft board, just taking the best player available, not concerned about if Gruden likes the kid, if he's a good fit for Gruden's system, this could be a disaster. So this draft, to me, looks like a great draft, but I'm under the impression that Gruden, the general manager, and Haskins are all on the same page, and they're all going to get along. Now, my ninth main observation of the NFL draft is the Carolina Panthers, and not so much Burns over Sweat, but I love what they did in the second round. They traded up for Greg Little. I just got finished talking about how I didn't like what the Houston Texans did because the Houston Texans should have took Greg Little. This is a plug-and-play guy who looked like a stud against SEC competition. Now, with Burns over Sweat, I think Sweat is the better prospect, but you have medical red flags on Sweat. You really don't have that on Burns. I mean, the question was going into the draft, a lot of people thought Burns might weigh 225 or 230, and he comes in the draft about 245, which is big enough to play in the Panthers' new system. And having him learn under Bruce Irving, I think, is a great pick. But then you trade up for Greg Little. I love that. So I really like what the Carolina Panthers did with the first two picks. But what really makes the Carolina Panthers draft really interesting is Will Grier, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the last name, out of West Virginia, because this team, to me, looks like they're switching offensive philosophies. You're switching. North Turner had that, downfield system, big physical wide receivers, think the Cowboys of the 90s, and, power running game, big offensive line. Now you got McCaffrey, who's the smallest running back, weight-wise. I think he's listed 205. I don't even think he weighs that. But now I've heard he's trying to put on weight, but he had 219 carries last year and 107 receptions. The Benjamins are gone. The Devin Funchesses are gone. You now have DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and McCaffrey, who I already mentioned. Those are your top guys. Greg Olson's coming back. Now, Greg Olson on 3rd and 5, he's going to be a great asset to go to on third down, but is he giving you the downfield presence that you had a couple of years ago? No, he's not providing that. So when I look at this team, I'm seeing a team that wants to play, spread the ball around, dink and dunk, get your players in a situation where they're one-on-one with a defender, because McCaffrey, Samuel, and Moore, you give them the ball in their hands and you give them one defender between them and the end zone, that's a win. And I love what you're doing there, but the one piece that doesn't fit in this dink and dunk spread offense is Cam Newton. But who does fit in this offense is Will Grier. So this, to me, is are you guys switching philosophy there in Carolina? Are you switching the downfield threat and going to more of a spread type of offense where you want a quarterback with a much higher accuracy versus, arm strength and downfield throwing potential? Because if that's the case, you have that in Will Grier. You don't have that in Cam Newton. So I'm looking at a team that could be trying to change the guard. And even if you're not, I like Grier in round 3 because you're not only getting a guy who's a capable backup. If you stick in the same philosophy and you're successful, this is a guy that you could trade for a draft capital down the line. But preseason football for the Carolina Panthers is going to be really exciting, because if Grier comes out and he looks really sharp and really good, there could be a change in the guard here in the quarterback position. Keep in mind, early reports are that Cam Newton does look good and that he will be able to go for the start of the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if they kept him out of a lot of the preseason games and gave Grier a lot of playing time. And if he looks good, don't be surprised if they turned him late in the season or anytime during the season and ask him to take over. Now, I'm saving the worst for last, because this observation at number 10 is not one I'm very happy about. Winners of the 2019 NFL Draft are the Denver Broncos. I love their trade down and getting Fant. I just thought that was brilliant. I mean, you could have taken him at number 10, and I'm giving that a C or a C plus grade because you get a stud athlete at tight end, which is something you needed. You desperately needed. Look at your division. You got Hunter Henry, a Pro Bowl tight end, replacing first ballot Hall of Famer Antonio Gates. Last year, the Raiders had Jared Cook. Did I even mention Travis Kelce yet? And if you're Denver, getting Fant maybe too high at 10, but he's something that you need to compete against these other offenses in the AFC West, but you get him at 20, that's a steal. Plus, that gives you the draft capital that you needed to go ahead and trade up for Drew Lock, a player Elway was really, really high on. I had him going number 4 to the Raiders. So he goes number 10 in the second round. Yes, I made a mistake, but that's one staple of Andrews football. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. But you get the local Kansas City kid who we went to the same high school. This kid's ultra athletic. He's got a big arm. And at round 2, there's zero pressure for him to come in and start this year. Matter of fact, he doesn't even need to start in 2020. If Flacco lights it up, you added a huge weapon in Noah Fant already. You got a Pro Bowl running back. And then you also drafted Dalton Risner in round 2, a guy that really should have gone in round 1. So you're adding him, you're adding Joe Flacco, a huge weapon in Fant, offensive line help in Risner, and then you get a guy in round 2 who really should have gone in round 1. So, and like I said, there's no pressure on Drew Lock to start because if Denver's successful, you can keep him on the bench as a backup. There's no pressure for him to start because he's not a day 1 draft pick. And then in round 3, you get Draymond Jones. I did a video. I thought he should have gone in the second round. I had him going to the Dallas Cowboys. So, and not only do you do all of those things, so you get a great value in Noah Fant at 20. You get great value at Dalton Risner at in the second round, the 41st pick. And then 42nd pick, you get a guy who I had going at 4, but almost everybody had Drew Lock going in the first round. That's a steal. But then you get a great value pick in round 3. And then, you know what, the last pick of the draft, you got undrafted free agent Lindsey Hunter who went to the Pro Bowl. Take another kid from Colorado in the last pick of the draft, the 6'1", 210-pound kid. I mean, Juwan Winfrey, let's say he makes the team. Awesome. Because look what happened last year. But if he doesn't make the team, who cares? Because you got another kid from Colorado who ended up being a Pro Bowl running back as a rookie. So, I mean, here's the thing. Denver's been blasting John Elway, and there's been talk about getting him to step down as general manager, but he just aced this draft. You couldn't ask for a better draft. You get excellent value in Risner. You get excellent trade value or draft value in Fant. Drew Lock, that's an awesome pick. And then your third round pick, I had him going in the second round. That was an excellent spot for him. So I think that Denver set themselves up with a really, really good offseason. And then they were, in my opinion, the winners of the NFL draft. So they're in position to compete in a very, very tough, I think it's the toughest division in the NFL because you got two Super Bowl contenders in Kansas City and Los Angeles. The Raiders are a huge up-and-coming team. And now Denver, I think, put themselves in the best possible position to make the playoffs this year. So, listen, if you're a subscriber to Andrews Football, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams will come true. But if you're new to my channel, you're just a fan of the NFL, you're just a fan of the NFL draft, or you're just a fan of really awesome hats, there's this button right here. Check this out. If you haven't already, look, bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Wait till next Saturday. I'm coming out with a brand new video. We're going to talk some more NFL. I'll see you next Saturday.